A lot of people online have been asking this question. And I don't quite get it, but hey, listen, you ask them, I answer them. That's how this thing works. What happens when blind people cry? Well, that's a weird question, isn't it? It's not really much different than I think than anybody else. I mean, look, when I cry, my eyes fill with tears, right? My nose is all runny and stuff. I'm having trouble breathing, because I'm crying and I'm sad. What else? I think that's about it. Wow. I don't think anything special happens to blind people than it would to anybody else. I mean, it's sort of the same thing. I don't quite understand the question. Should something different happen when we cry? When I cry, I bump into furniture. I can't see very well. In fact, I can't see at all when I cry. It's really weird. Can sighted people see when they cry? I mean, like if you have tears coming down your face and stuff, you probably can't see very well, can you? Like you can't drive and cry, can you? You crash. See, I think the more interesting question is what happens to sighted people when they cry? Could somebody make that video for me, please? Like, I don't have anything funny or clever or anything. It's because there's not much difference. There really isn't. I don't think. Listen, I've never been a sighted person, so I wouldn't know exactly. But it seems like the same thing. I've seen many people cry in movies and television and real life. Same kind of thing happens. Emotions take over. You become a little irrational sometimes if you're crying and angry. Right? Boy, I think this is the worst video we've ever done. What happens when blind people cry? Nothing. Nothing at all. Blind people don't have tear ducts. Did you know that? No, I better not, because you might really believe that. When blind people cry, Thursday on Fox. Do blind people cry? Of course we do. Why wouldn't we? Christ, we can't see. Since there's not much to really talk about as far as, what the difference is between sighted people and blind people crying, why don't I tell you things that make me cry? How's that? I mean, like, if somebody were to hurt me physically, that might make me cry. You know what I mean? Like if I broke my leg or something like that, if I broke my arm or I, cracked my head open or something like that. When somebody breaks my heart, right? When somebody hurts my feelings, somebody leaves a mean comment on a video. I think the same thing that makes us all cry, right? I think we all have that in common. In my life, I don't think anyone's ever asked me that question, what it's like, for blind people to cry. I think that's the first time I've ever heard it. You can tell by my answer. Justin Timberlake, right? Cry Me a River. Would you really want that? I don't think you would. It'd flood the basement and stuff. Oh, ruin the ping pong table. Forget it. You know what makes me cry? When the Mets lose. Oh my God. So I cry all the time.